Bitcoin mining difficulty hits a record high. Listing miners with surging stock prices will now have to compete harder. Yes, I guess it's all over for Bitcoin mining. Time to give up. Too many people are mining. I guess that everyone's done with Bitcoin now. That's what the article headline leads me to begin to believe. Ben Ark, crypto mining uses too much power, too difficult to do. I guess we should just give up and go home.
There was a nice, for the Lightning Hack sprint last weekend, there was a really nice piece by a group called netpositive.money is the website. And they're trying to address Bitcoin's carbon footprint by, offering some sort of service to offset your carbon footprint, which I thought was quite a nice idea. Obviously, the best way to to use Bitcoin in an efficient way, carbon-wise, is to do as many transactions off-chain on Lightning Network as possible, and then reserve those filthy, stinky on-chain Bitcoin transactions for big purchases and moving big amounts of money around. But this isn't really, I've gone off topic. Hash rate, it seems to me like every, week or so, we've hit an hash rate all-time high. I've got a major sense of deja vu, so I'm gonna share my screen again, if you don't mind, so that we have a look. So the Bitcoin hash rate here. Make that bigger. Here we go. We've just been going up for years. Bitcoin hash rate's just been flying up. But the Zoom thing's ruining my ability to be able to see this screen. But you can see here the hash rate just firing up. So no wonder we're covering it every week, because it is hitting all-time highs pretty much every week. And because more and more people are starting to realize that Bitcoin is incredibly useful. Its price goes up, so you can mine it now relatively cheaply, and then in the future it'll be worth a hell of a lot more money. But the amazing thing in this article, which we're talking about, is the cost, the premium in mining hardware. It's up 600% or something. So getting your return on investment on that hardware is going to be tricky. But now we've started to see the past year countries getting into mining. These major hash rate spikes, if not directly countries getting involved in mining, could be countries via a proxy of some sort starting to dip their toes into Bitcoin mining. So yeah, it's just going to keep going up, because Bitcoin's useful and people think it's going to be worth a lot in the future. So it'll just continue to hit all-time highs.
Do you want to bring that chart up again, Ben? I just want to sort of put it into people's minds of what that means, because it's insane. Like if you go back to around about 2000, just before 2017, kind of where that BTC
it's amazing, isn't it? Yeah.
Around about there is, I remember someone calculated how much hash rate it would add to the Bitcoin network if every single bit of hardware that Google had, which, yeah, granted, it's not specifically hashing hardware, it's just generalized computing hardware. And if they pointed every single CPU they had at Bitcoin, it would add less than 1% hash rate to the network. And that was back then. I mean, this network is so extraordinarily powerful. I mean, 144 exahash, it's totally incomprehensible now how tough this network is. It's insane. It's absolutely insane, the amount of computational power.
And what's cool is if you do make a transaction, then all those computers are working for you to secure your transaction and your money. That all that hash rate, all that power, all those exahashes for you. Done.
Josh Segala, your thoughts? Is everyone going to quit mining Bitcoin because it's just too hard?
No, but I can see where large players are finding it's going to get hard to buy Bitcoin. I feel like if it's larger amounts. So people like Elon Musk is mining Bitcoin by basically selling his cars for it and getting it at spot. So that's the way to get Bitcoin, is to start offering services for it and offering your service for it out there, and accepting Lightning Network payments as well. But yeah, a bit of a roundabout, weird way of answering that question. But yeah, no, it's never too hard. You can always calculate a way, especially if you try to find, and this goes for the ad nauseum concept of being green in Bitcoin, but it makes you want to look for cheaper and cheaper and better ways of creating energy you know, that's all it does. It heads people to like Greenland and such that have geothermal power and such.
Dan, Eve, will everyone be replacing their gas-powered crypto raptors with electric ones?
I think well, I don't, as long as it's renewable energy, otherwise they'd be like bad for the environment and stuff. But I'm going to go because I waffle enough about the green side of things, you know. I enough as it is. I think we're past the argument now. There's like loads of research that shows it's like 30 to 40% renewables, which is pretty good. So you know, I'll roll with that. Maybe it's you know, the source is probably slightly biased, but I think it was actually the Cambridge, like it's literally called something like the Cambridge "We're not trying to be biased" like study or something. So hopefully that they weren't just like pulling our leg. You can definitely trust that. But just okay, forget about all of that stuff. Some interesting stats, because actually, Guide a bit info charts is really cool. I had it up earlier as well. I was prepping some up, and I think that something that we need to look at is the cool stats. And so there's just under 1 million active addresses over the last 24 hours. Actually, it peaked at around 1 million in 2017. So it took a while, dropped down a lot, and it's gone back up there. So I think that's really good. It shows a big sign of network adoption as well, and at these active addresses. And you know, in early 2020, it was only 550,000. So you know, there's a lot more the mainstream attention that Bitcoin's getting is getting a lot more actual usage out of it. The largest transactions, the 100 largest transactions over the last 24 hours totaled 693,000 Bitcoin, which is 40 billion. You know, these numbers are just so insane. They're just incredible. And what else I thought was pretty cool actually. I remember looking at mining profitability, and it was, you know, it's at the moment it's 0.3298 USD for 1 terahash. And back in like when I first heard that you could mine Bitcoin, I put my twin 680 GTXs towards it, and then was like, oh, that's terrible. So then I put an order in for Butterfly Labs that never came, and that was terrible. And then I bought some Block Eruptor Cubes, and that was terrible. And I had all these fancy spreadsheets about how long it's going to take me to, and all I should have done was just buy Bitcoin with it. I should have just bought the Bitcoin and not bothered, you know, at the time. But anyway, yeah. So check out BitInfo charts. So that was what Ben was looking at, the exahash rate, which is currently set at 162.684, and a difficulty of 22.9 trillion. That's just incredible. But it's got some really cool stats. And if you want to look at other shitcoins, it's got other shitcoins too, if it tickles your gizzards.
Artine, if it falls to you to explain to the media why Bitcoin difficulty rising and that it's harder and harder to mine doesn't mean that everyone is just going to give up because it's too hard.
No, I don't think so. I just read the other day on, I think it was yesterday on Yahoo Finance, there was an article, I think it was written by CoinDesk, that last month miners saw a monthly record of $1.5 billion in mining revenue. So even though it's extremely hard to mine a Bitcoin, it has never been more profitable. This is really like a record. So this is the reason why we're seeing a huge increase in hashing power, is that everybody is just digging up those old miners and switching them on because they want to squeeze as many Satoshis out of that network as possible. And another thing is that Josh, or the graph that Ben showed, where Josh pointed out that in 2017, even though it's just a blimp on the graph, this Bitcoin network was already so secure that we really don't need the extra mining power. But the way it's organized, or works, is that, you know, everybody will want to get their piece of the pie. So difficulty goes up, page number go up, technology. So for this reason, everybody is just mining, and they really want to have those mining income thingies. While if you look at the miners themselves, they basically sold most of their inventory at around 30K, 35K or so. So that's where the miners were really selling all their all their holdings of crypto, but I don't know how or why, either they expect the price to go up or they managed to secure funds from elsewhere, but they've virtually stopped selling crypto or Bitcoin. So the miners are hoarding crypto. Anything they make, they're keeping it. So they either know something or they just speculate that the price will go up, which is likely. And another important thing to realize is that new mining equipment, which will be faster and more efficient, will not arrive until, well, December, November this year, January next year. So there is like all this time to continue mining without the fear of having to replace your equipment because new, more powerful equipment is hitting the markets. So this is the time for the miners to do whatever they do best, and is dig up the digital gold and keep mining. So no, the price difficulty up in this case doesn't mean that the mining will stop. Personally, I wouldn't want to start mining again. You know, this is what I did on my old Acer laptop back in 2010, and I just work for Bitcoin instead, like Tesla does. You know, they get Bitcoin at spot, at market rates by selling cars, and I think this is the better way to get Bitcoin. But if mining is your business and you've got a whole bunch of equipment lying around, now is the time to switch everything on, because nobody is going to outspeed you or you know, out hash power you until the end of the year. So yeah.